Latte has always been very docile. He's such a special soul, so gentle. He has never swatted or hissed or done anything to anyone. He needs a lot of love, and he'll give a lot of love to humans, to his humans, but also to other cats. We have a lot of foster cats who have come through our home, and Latte has had a big influence on the kittens. It's Professor Latte and the foster kitten school where he teaches them how to play. He will clean them. He will also gently discipline them. So I feel he is a safe ambassador for animal welfare.
When I first moved to KL, I was kind of living in that expat bubble. I was doing my work every day. So I didn't see stray animals. I didn't really think about animals that much. I was focused on what I was doing with my work. And I just happened to bump into a lady called Fran, and she was looking for a foster for this toothless, tailless tortoiseshell cat. Most adorable little thing with a little tongue out all of the time. I had no idea how to find this cat a home. She was kind of doing little things in the community, but wasn't really getting any interest in adopting this cat. So I thought, let's start an Instagram page. That seems to be what people do. So I sat on my couch with my phone and I designed a logo, which looked much worse than the one that we have now, and just started an Instagram page and posted an adoption ad. I had about 3 followers at the time, I think. But somehow just perseverance and posting on different platforms that had a bigger following, I found the cat a home. So I just kind of took it from there.
Latte was my first rescue mission with Pads and Paws. Sophie received a call from a couple who had woken up one morning, and on their porch there was a mummy cat who had brought 3 kittens. I think there had been a storm the night before, so she'd obviously looked for shelter for her babies. We jumped into the car and we went to the people's house. It was just round the corner. And they presented us with a cardboard box with what was inside. Probably wouldn't be attracting a lot of viewings on Instagram. They were crusty eyes, full of flu. My first reaction was, at least I don't have that feeling that I want to keep a cat. So that's good. Never trust your original instinct. We nursed them back to health, and we had latte, macchiato, and cappuccino. They turned into lovely little kittens, full of energy, full of love. Macchiato got adopted to a home where they already had a cat, and then it was Cappuccino's turn. Latte, funnily enough, didn't have much interest from potential adopters. I don't know if it was the cross-eyed thing and the fact that he had no tail. And then something happened. I think I knew I had fallen in love with Latte. The personality fitted right in our house.
I remember one day seeing this post about a cat and babies, and somebody just wanted them out. So Guards had posted a picture saying, can somebody help? Is this somebody's cat? Are these somebody's kittens? And I just walked over, and they were under the sun in a trap, and tiny babies with no eyes shut. And I asked them, I said, why have you taken them? Why are they here? And they were like, the bosses don't want this cat here or the babies, and we can't get the mother. So we've got the kittens, hoping that the mother would come to the kittens, and I just couldn't understand that. So reasoning with them and trying to get them to give me the kittens, and then luring the mother so we could reunite. So we tried numerous things, and eventually, it was Sophie. She sat down with the kitten in a carrier and managed to get Jodie to go in. It was just, phenomenal. They all got adopted. And I remember Jodie being really feral as she was. It was really difficult to integrate her. So it just took a long time, just a really long time. She's still with us now, but she is an absolute gem. So, it just goes to show that with lots of love, care and attention, we can change these lives. She deserves a chance.
There was one under the bed. Okay, hi, I'm Anam. I have 9 cats, because if it was for me, I would literally have 200, 500 cats by now. But I have to stop here.
Chiku. Hi.
Sometimes adopters approach us, they want to adopt a cat, but they're a bit uncertain, and that's where they fill in a form called Perfect Match. And that's where they write what kind of cat they would like, whether it would be a kitten or an adult cat, color preference, gender preference, age preference. We send them pictures of cats that match their preferences, and sometimes they're not certain about adopting, so we tell them to foster the cat for a month, and usually most of the times once they foster, it doesn't even last a month. Usually two weeks into it, they just message us saying we would like to go ahead with adoption.
I do a lot of rescuing and fostering for Paws and Paws. My team members often joke that although we don't have a shelter or a headquarter place for the organization, my house is the closest thing we have to it. I think it's about 95 cats at some point have been fostered here in my home, not at the same time. Something that often makes people hesitate about fostering is that they fear they might get emotionally attached, and the reason for fostering would be because they can't adopt an animal, and I would be lying if I said that you never get attached to a foster cat. I remember our first foster Pika. When she left, I was so happy that she was going to have her own home, but she was leaving a gap in our home and in our hearts. And if, like with Latte, our foster feral cat, we didn't plan to adopt him originally, he just fitted in our home so well, then that's how things work in life. It's don't fight don't fight love, don't fight if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if you cry when a cat is adopted, and that has happened to me, sometimes you don't see it coming that you were so attached until you pass them over. That's okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will definitely send photos, and anything that comes up, I will ask. You little boy. Thank you so much.
The updates that we get from the adopters, that just, makes us feel happy and know we've done the best. They're going to have the best life, and they're going to have a forever loving home. They will never have to go back on the streets again.
Rescue and rehome is a big part of our work, but although that is a big part of our work for those cats that cannot remain on the streets, whether they're kittens who are very vulnerable, or they might be sick cats who need to be having some kind of long-term treatment, or they may be cases that we just suspect have been abandoned from a home and really don't have those survival skills from staying on the street. They all could fall into the category of rehome. They really are not going to thrive on the streets. But actually, rescue and rehome, that's not what's going to make the biggest difference. The biggest difference we can make is through neutering and what we call TNR, Trap-Neuter-Return.
That's a family of a mother cat with a few daughters. We just released one of the elder daughters, and the mother cat is around here as well. That guy loves being handled. He probably had an owner once upon a time. And he's also very attached to the calicos here. Whoa! Okay. Ini mak, ni dua anak kan? Semua anak. They were caught just last night around here. So. TNR stands for Trap-Neuter-Release. It often is appended with a V for vaccinate and M for manage. The idea is that when you have a fixed colony of cats with an unstable population, you come in, you catch as much of the colony as possible. You send them to a clinic to get spayed or neutered, including the males. Some people think that the males are not part of the problems. The males are totally part of the problem. And once they've been neutered and spayed, they are returned to the same place where they were initially caught. So the V being vaccination is so that when there are communicable diseases between the cats, they don't spread among themselves, and they're also vaccinated against new cats coming in that may also be bringing in those viruses that they've been vaccinated against. And M is usually the job of the feeders who are managing them so that, you know, if there are any complications, they can kind of reach out and say, like, you know, what do we do? How can we, you know, maintain the population?
The majority of our funds goes towards our vet bills. Some of the cats that we rescue really don't need very much. They might be healthy and they really just need a quick checkup, deflea, deworm, and of course their vaccinations and their neutering when they're old enough. Other end of the scale, we have some cats that just cost thousands. There are really costly illnesses that require long-term treatment, such as parvovirus, broken limbs that require surgery, dental work. All of these cost a huge amount of money. So the majority of our funds goes towards the vet bills. None of our team receive any salary.
Hi. What are you doing here? I am just setting up the merchandise for Pads and Paws. We have a Christmas fair / adoption drive, and we got lots of lovely products that we're trying to sell to raise money for all of our cats that we rescue from the streets.
Raising funds is very difficult. It requires a lot of our time to go into that. It's not just a case of making a post and we get 10,000 ringgit. That would be an absolute dream. It's really challenging. We try not to post constantly for funds because we know that's not what people want to see in our Instagram pages. They want to see the cats. But unfortunately, funding is a huge part of what we do. We have merchandise sales to try to raise as much funding as we can. We try reaching out to different organizations and businesses that might be able to help. Our adoption fee, although small, it doesn't tend to cover the costs for that actual cat, but it's something that we get back. And then we host our adoption drives, usually about 4 times a year, and that is a big part of our fundraising, actually.
At adoption drives, we often have very excited adopters coming in who just look at some cats and they're like, okay, we need this cat, we're gonna get this cat. And we ask them to fill in a form, which we check then and there. And sometimes we have to reject on the basis that they have filled in that they have a really beautiful cat cage, or a cat condo it's called, and that's where they will be putting the cat. And this is when we have to tell them that no caging is allowed.
Very careful to ensure that our cats are going to a suitable environment. Occasionally people don't really like having to answer questions, but really if we're going to rescue a cat off the street and put them into an environment that is unsuitable or unsafe, it doesn't help anything. It's not going to help the problem. So, we try to have that balance, but asking the right questions and making sure that that cat is going into a safe space where primarily they will be neutered, where they ideally will be kept indoors, so they're staying safe. And just that they're going to go to a loving person that's going to keep them, and they're not going to end up back where they started.
That's his tail. Just be gentle with the tail, okay? Good girl.
I just think animals and children together, it's such a joy. And I think in particular in Malaysia, where there is a stray problem, having that awareness in our young people is something that we should definitely push for. They're going to be the ones that are growing up in this country, and perhaps the next generation of rescuers, of animal advocates, and we should be educating them on the world around them.
I am a French teacher, but I have developed a program for animal welfare at my school. My bottom line really is to say you don't actually have to love or even like animals to be part of the animal welfare team. You don't need to want to pet them or touch them or get excited about having cats coming to school, but just don't be cruel, and educate others around you. So if you are a young child and you see another friend who doesn't know any different and is teasing or doing something mean to an animal, tell them, educate them, share the knowledge that you have.
All of these people with different talents from the community really coming together. You have the caregivers that foster them in their homes. You have the people with amazing social media skills who can create the wonderful reels. You have people that just have a bit of extra time to take them to the vet. It really takes a village. It takes everybody coming together, and we can't do it alone. And I think it's also really important to note that we're not doing this alone, and we're not the only organization out there. There are so many amazing organizations out there for cat rescue, dog rescue, rabbit rescue, wildlife. And I think it's really gaining momentum.
Stray animals also deserve to have a good life. So if you can, please save them. And they don't have a voice. So we need to speak on behalf of them. And then do whatever you can. If you can't do anything, at least you can talk to your friends to increase the awareness that if you don't save them, at least not to torture them or to abuse them.